Card. Oh. All right, Bob and Mary, let's talk about that old clunky dinosaur out in your garage. The biggest energy waster in your home. Now, a medium-sized car driven 12,000 miles, averaging 22 miles per gallon, and an electric hot water heater supplying 80 gallons of hot water per day, both use 11 barrels of oil. Do you know what 11 barrels of oil looks like? It could fill up your kitchen, okay? Now, constantly maintaining the temperature of your hot water heater out in your garage, just waiting for you to take a shower, is the exact same as leaving your car idling in the driveway waiting for you to take a drive. And could you imagine doing that? All right, so why are we doing it with our hot water heaters? Now, the same energy, turning your hot water heater on is like turning on 45 100-watt light bulbs times 2. But unlike the light bulbs, your water heater never, ever, ever shuts off. Of course, until it dies, all right? And then you're gonna spend up to $1,000 to replace it. And then it's gonna cost you that every single month. It's like buying a printer, all right? You buy the printer for 60 bucks, and then what happens when you go back to buy the printer ink, right? It's 65. Now, your energy guide. Remember when we showed you that energy guide out there, all right? It said that it's costing you $526 a year, $526. But today's cost, that was in 1994, all right? In today's cost, it's costing double, okay? So now you're $1,000 a year, all right? Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you our solar hot water heating system. And there's some really, really important things about this hot water heating system. So I'm gonna point those out. And I'm gonna be drawing the panel from a street view. Okay, and when the sun comes across the sky in the wintertime, it kind of comes like this, okay, and when it comes across in the summertime, it's directly overhead, just like this. And essentially, there's a couple things that are really important about this panel, and the number one thing is what it's made out of. Now, the panel's encasing, all right, all of this is going to be made out of 303 grade, hospital grade, aircraft aluminum. What that means is it's the same exact stuff that they make airplanes out of. All right, it's never been made, it's virgin aluminum. It's never been made out of like sitting underneath a pizza. It's never made out of soda can, recycled. It's virgin aluminum. It's really expensive, all right? It's the highest grade that you can get, but it lasts forever. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those old airplanes that get decommissioned. They tried to bury them in the landfills back in the 70s and they all just floated right back up to the top. So they have to now put them in big parking lots. They all look brand new. There's no rust, they don't crack, they don't corrode. That's why we use it, all right? It lasts forever. It's expensive, but it lasts forever. Now the next thing that's really, really important to this system is gonna be the glass on the panel. Now, if you get a cheap flat glass system from Home Depot or anywhere, any company, what's gonna happen is you can only heat hot water from 2 p.m. or from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Essentially, you need direct sunlight. What's proprietary to this system, if you look at our glass on the panel, it looks like a shower door. You know how you have that opaque shower door so you can't see or you know what's on the other side? All right, ours looks like that, but if you get it up to a microscope, all right, what you have is a bunch of tiny little magnifying glasses. All right, we don't need direct sunlight. This is prism technology. And what does prism sound like? Prism, right? It's a derivative, right? Now, essentially, what it does, it traps things, just like a prism. It keeps them in. And so it's gonna take this sunlight from as soon as the sun comes up at 7 a.m., so it sets at 7 p.m., and it's gonna direct it and it's gonna drop it down, all right? A flat glass system is gonna bounce right off until it gets to that direct sunlight. Ours, we just need the sun's radiation. Essentially, what it's directing it down at is 100% copper tubes. And the reason why we use 100% copper is because it lasts forever, all right? Copper is the world's most stolen good. It's really expensive, but it's the world's greatest heat, or one of the world's greatest heat conductors. So it conducts heat the fastest. It can get that hot water hottest, fastest. Then there's gonna be a plate that goes across the top of this panel, and it's gonna be a full copper plate. And then that copper, could you imagine if we painted this system, painted that copper black? All right, it'd get a lot hotter, it'd absorb all that radiation. But if we painted it black, what would happen? Chip, crack, corrode, all right? So what we do is we have an anodization process that's similar to chroming, but we chrome it black, all right? And that's proprietary to this system. Essentially, we get that copper red hot, and then they take a powder coat and blast it, and it binds to the metal. So it never chips, it never cracks, it never corrodes, it lasts forever. Do you see how this panel is gonna last forever? Okay, now let's talk about how it gets it hot. Once it directs it down on these tubes, it can get this up to boiling point, 212 degrees in 30 seconds. And if you ever look in the summertime and it's kind of steaming on your roof, it's just protecting itself. It's not broken, it's just releasing the steam so it can protect itself. And then if you ever hear the system draining itself, you know those cold nights that we get every once in a while, it'll be 28 degrees, you know, for maybe an hour at night. Any of those cold nights, it's got a little protection valve right here that at 35 degrees, it's going to actually drain that system. So it protects itself, it's not gonna freeze up, okay? Now, once we get the hot water hot, even on a cloudy, rainy day, it'll take only about 5 to 7 minutes to get it up to boiling. And once we get it hot, we actually have to take it and we have to mix that water with cold water. All right, because legally, we have to bring it into the house at below 120 degrees. And what we're going to be keeping that in is a little different tank than what you're used to. Now, what you have is a 40-gallon tank. It's got an inch of insulation, and then you got two big 4,500 watt elements going zapping the hot water 24/7. The problem that we have is we don't have those big elements to heat your hot water all night long while you're not using it. So you can have the luxury of using a hot shower in the morning before the sun comes up. What we need to do is we have a super insulated tank, okay? So there's 3 inches of spray foam, and then it's ceramic glass lined. And instead of 40 gallons, it's gonna be an 80-gallon tank. It's essentially a massive Yeti mug. It's a giant thermos. And you know how when you put coffee in your thermos before you go to work, let's say you forgot it, you left it in your car, when you get back out, you get home, you go to dump it out into the sink, and guess what? It's still hot, right? This can keep that water hot for 3 to 5 days. It seals the system off, okay? Now, once it's hot inside your tank, you're gonna have 80 gallons of 120 degree hot water. What that's gonna allow you to do is it's gonna allow you, what you'd never be able to do with your hot water heater now, is take 4 showers at about 15 minutes apiece, which equals about 15 gallon. Times 4 is gonna be about 60 gallons. And then 1 load of dishes and 1 load of laundry. At 10 gallons and at 10 gallons. Before you ever run out of that hot water. And then once that sun rises at 7 a.m., immediately it's gonna start heating that hot water again, okay? Now, do you guys see how we're gonna get the hot water hot? See how we're gonna keep it hot? And do you see how the system's gonna last virtually forever?